Hey guys, it's Josh here with Inkology. Today we have a really fun little tutorial live stream, and it says I'm live in 1 minute and 41 seconds. I wonder if it doesn't allow me to actually watch. Maybe I'm not live. Maybe I'll just wait 1 minute and 30 seconds. If you're joining me already, then let me just type some stuff, see what happens. Got 1 minute left. Let's see what happens. Maybe I am supposed to wait. I thought I could start early. Wait, why did it... Am I live or am I not live? Why did it redirect me? What is happening? I am live, so what? Okay, hey Randy. My computer was doing some wacky stuff. Anyways, today's gonna be fun. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. And if you want to join a community of great artists that are fun and having fun, do the Discord. You can also get information on my Patreon as well as my Instagram. The link is all in there. Hey Harsha, I know it's late for you. Man, you're a night owl for sure. Today I'm going to give one of my favorite secrets of drawing, I guess you'd say. It's not a secret, it's what everybody learns how to do. But let's get into it so that way, Randy, I know you gotta go, so I'm gonna get into it real quick. It's best if you have a pencil and paper to do this with me. Let's get started. Sorry, a little burpy today. I'm gonna be drawing with this little guy, this little yellow pencil. I found it and I was like, cool, it's a soft HB. Neato. Don't know where it came from. And then we'll ink it with the rest of this stuff here. The Micron 1 and the graphic and the, whatever. Need an eraser, because you might need to erase. But let's begin with a theory. When drawing something from a comic book, right? You see it, you see the image, and you're like, hey, that's cool. I want to replicate that onto a piece of paper. And then you start drawing, and it turns out like a stick figure. And you're like, what is happening with my life? Well, a lot of that is actually in your mind. You're overthinking things. You're distracted. You're not really paying attention to proportions in the way that you might kind of envision it, or your skill set doesn't match. The tutorials you've seen and you figured your mechanical ability should be able to do. So we're going to go through a way that I learned, which is my main way of getting proportions and drawings nearly perfect. Right. A lot of this was refined by an artist named Scott Waddell. He's an oil painter, but he kind of helped me build it better, and it broke some barriers that I couldn't get through. But let's go through it real quick. So we have an image. We're going to do Nightwing today. Right here, we have Nightwing. He's jumping through the air. The artist is Vasco Georgi. 2023, I think he drew this. Bad to the bone. Props to him. I am using him as a reference because that's how good he is. Anyways, so we have this image, but let's take away the background. Just make it simpler, okay? And then just do that, right? So without the background, you just have him flying through the air. You got to focus on him. He is the subject. Don't worry about the perspective or anything like that. He's there. Now, I like to just go black and white with it. It's easier to kind of like work out coloring and stuff like that later. And then here's where we're gonna start. Now I like him as he is. I want to draw him. He's looking dope. I want to get him on paper. Most people that I know, and I'm not saying everybody does this, I'm just saying some of my friends and people, other artists I know, they'll start with the head, and then they'll start drawing the body, and then the leg, and they'll go through it, and then they'll find out, oh man, the proportions aren't right, okay? But I want to break him up a little bit, okay? So let's first of all center your page. You're not imagining he's filling up this entire page. He's probably going to fill up a good portion of it, but not all of it. So the first thing you want to do is build a square. And I like to, you know, with my mind build a square, but it's better to build a square with just honestly, like literally drawing a square. And the reason why you want to do this is because you can break these boundaries and kind of he's a really good sized rectangle, but it doesn't matter. We don't have to meet the rectangle perfectly. Okay. I'm just building a box so that way we can work within the box and then break outside of it later. We'll probably not use all the space, probably come in, but you can draw out of it if it's too big, draw in it if it's too small, kind of stuff like that, or vice versa. Oh, did I told him I was live. I said I was live at 2:30. I sent the link on Discord. It should be there. If not, then, well, crud. That's all I gotta say. Oh yeah, good job, Randy, on your shading. I was just wondering what your pencil was because it did look lighter than most pencils. If you want to join. Okay, so I have a dirty piece of paper. I'm just using this as a, man, is this really dirty? I don't know what happened. Oh, because I stuck my eraser on there to hold it. Okay, so the thing is, you're looking at Nightwing and he's jumping. Now you can easily envision right here. His head is a circle, like an oval shaped kind of. No, it's more of a square actually. Right. Let's use the pencil. And then you have a. You know what? Give me 1 second. I'm getting a phone call real quick. Let me just millisecond. It won't be long. Okay, sorry about that. I send a message and people don't read their messages. Okay. Okay, sorry, I have to get back to it. No. Hey, it shouldn't have looked better. No, that's a practice. It's all practice. You're fine. You did great. But let's get here. So with Nightwing here, there is a curve of his leg. You can see how it kind of curves, right? Now, some artists will want you to draw the shape of that, kind of get ovals and knees as a circle, and stuff like that. But I find it easier to just draw a straight line. So let's begin with his torso. You always want to start with the torso because the torso builds the rest of the character, and you can measure things from the torso. So his torso has a line going down, a line going in, and a line going back down. And then his back is a straight line, but it's got a slight angle to it. You ever see artists when in movies or something like that where they're holding a pencil out and they're kind of like angling what they're holding out in front of their face, and they're kind of squinting their eyes, and they're like, oh, the angle is this and this, and they're going back to the page, getting the angle correct. Oh man, K Krusty, you gotta. Sick baby duty's no fun. Make sure you take care of that little one, and hope she feels better. So just listen in if you want, but take care of business. So whenever they do that, what they're doing is they're angling their pencil. So for example, this is a straight. Let me get on camera straight up and down, right? Right. Well, if I measure that with him, he's got no straight points. But if I turn it this way. You can see that the pencil is angled towards his back, right? So when I move it over, that's where I'll be drawing my line, right? I'll be drawing my line like this. Slight angle. I know because of my camera it looks a little bit more angled, but I'm doing my best to get it right. So I have a sheet here actually. I printed out him here so that way I can kind of show you guys what's going on. So I'm going to use a red pen. You're going to want to do a straight line, right? Don't worry about the rest of this body. Go up as far as you need to go. It doesn't really matter, okay? So let's see. Let's get this straight angle. There, okay. So then you have another straight line right here, okay? And this is where squares and shapes help a lot. Then you have another one, right? And then you have another one, and then you have another one. And another one bites the dust right here. So this one, straight. Now the leg will go over, but it's fine. You don't have to worry about that. And then you have this, and then a straight cube right here, okay? And here you have the arm coming through here, and the arm coming through here. Now, if you're able to just build out the torso first, what you're going to be able to do here is look at the square that you built or the lines that you built and kind of measure how thick the arm should be, right? That's what you're actually, with your eyeballs, you're going to be seeing, like, oh, okay, so the circle should fill up this much space of this square. It should come up this far. The chin isn't at the angle here, right? This is the angle point of his chest. So it's a little bit higher, so you can draw that line. Now, you got this line coming, right? Sorry, I messed up on the line. You got this line coming, and then all of a sudden his head goes up a little bit. But you can make that measurement. It can almost be straight if you wanted it to be. And then you have the butt, stuff like that. The butt I wouldn't worry about. I would actually do the butt last. I like the butt last. And then go with the line here. Because when you do this, you're measuring from his head square. It goes straight down. See? And now you can do the kneecap there. So you're measuring your character based off of these shapes that you're following these lines with. Okay? So you got the stomach. The stomach, you can tell, does not meet up with this. It's close, but it's right there. So you just want to go as far as you can here, right? And then go further. And these little tricks, right? The hands you can do last, because you can always measure the hand to, what is it? 1 hand, 2 hand, 3 hand, up to here. So it's just measurements with your mind, right? And the feet too. The feet goes the same. The feet is always this weird angle thing. But push down with the lines. And I know it's kind of confusing right now, but if you can see what I'm doing is I'm not drawing the character just because he's printed. I didn't draw him, right? But I'm finding ways to measure out. So I know that the foot's here. So if I drew the square, right? I mean, that's a little bit high. But I would be able to see that, okay, his foot starts here. This one's going to be about where the heel is. So where's the heel at? The heel's coming across, and it's almost the center point of his foot, right? It's not the full center point, but it's pretty close. And then I can draw the foot from there. You want to find different points to match and keep up, right? So, okay, for the example, the chin. I see the chin goes straight to the crease right here. This is the crease. This is the chin. Perfect. I know that works. Every drawing is going to have that, right? The wrist is going to be a slight angle, not a straight up and down, but a slight angle. If you can do the slight, you can draw that, you're fine. So, how does that look in practice? Okay, well, let's draw. I'm going to draw with graphite so you can see it better. No, actually, maybe I will do pencil because just probably smarter. Now, if I have my image in my comic book I'm looking at, and I'm going to, sorry, if you guys message me, I'm not going to be able to see. I'm not worried about going out of the thing. I know that his foot's here, and that's fine. And because I have a square, I can build out an angle of his foot. Okay? Now, that's a long thing, but I don't have to start his end of his foot right here. This is not it's not a rule. I just want that line of angle. And his back is angled, right? So how far is the distance from here to his butt? I don't know yet, but I need to build out more. I know his back goes at another angle. And I can see that if I just went up and created the box like I showed you before. Oh, I didn't even show you guys. Here it is. I'm sorry. Blah. There it is. So now you can see the angles that I would draw right away. These are the lines that I'm going to be drawing, right? And then going all the way across, right? And I can make this here. That's his kneecap. I know his kneecap's there. Well, if his kneecap's there, then there's a straight line going down. And you can bend the foot if you need to. But since I know that his foot starts here, I know that it's going to be midway of his foot. So most likely around here, most like an average idea. And you can always fine tune this later. And then he's got his foot here. Okay. So his foot's here. It must go up towards what? His chin, not his chin. No, this is the crease. The crease goes to the chin. Sorry. I'm trying to teach and draw at the same time. Not easy. So we have a crease, and we have the thickness of his leg. His thickness of his calf is going to be thinner than his thigh. So you can come down. Now his stomach is coming down here. And then we have this. And then we're going to go at another angle. So right now we have a very rough shape of what he looks like. Now his head is going to be below his shoulder. So the top, if the top is here, then we're going to where the bend is the center of his head. So if we just come across, right, then I know that the center of his head is going to be there. So I can build out his noggin. Okay. And don't worry about being perfect. This is all about building proportions. So now that we have this, okay, now we need his arms, right? That's where we're going to go to. His arms, his hands end, if you can see it right here, let me point it out. His hands go straight down to his ankle. So if his ankle is probably right about here, then his wrists are the tip of his hands are going to be right there. So I need to draw a diagonal line. Okay. And then we're going to draw his okay, and then remember the back of his head kind of matches into his thing, but his both hands will meet at the same distance. So okay. And then now for his butt and his legs. But let's go ahead and do his leg right here. It comes down to the middle of his foot. The crease of his where do we go? Crease of his leg goes to the middle of his foot, and then this will go back, right? We got this. Okay, so you can see that the foot's not going to match up. You're like, oh man, what are you going to do about that? This is what the eraser's for. The reason why it doesn't match up is because the box was created first without a reference on top. I just drew the box to show you it's in a position where you can start studying from a box if you want to measure it out or something like that. But because it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. What I do know is that the tips of the hands here have these cool looking thingamabobs, whooping sticks. I don't know what they're called. Yeah. Okay. And at the end of the whooping stick, we may have, maybe it's a little bit longer than that. I'm sorry. Yeah. At the end of it, we'll have the middle of his foot, roughly. but we still have to keep in contact with, okay, well this actually comes to the center point of his foot, the heel. Heel comes down, comes out. Okay, and then we have, this is actually below his abdomen, so I didn't make his abdomen big enough. Comes down. And you can adjust from here, because his butt's probably up around here. But if you're staying within these lines, then it'll all start to fall together. Does that make sense? So this is something I feel like a lot of artists need to practice, because what happens is when you're drawing, you're trying to replicate something straight from the image to image, but you're not putting into proportion what things are actually turning into. And it's better to work with shapes and lines this way and then start molding the body towards it. And eventually what you'll end up doing is you'll be getting so good at this that it'll be all in your head. You won't need to draw out all of the figure, you know, all these lines and stuff. It'll just be in your head because you'll be looking for these angles all the time, right? So another thing is, if you want to, and this is what Scott Waddell taught me a lot more of, is finding the shadows. Okay. If you follow along his shadows, they are also key points, right? These are very helpful. So when you do it, you might want to come in here and just color in the shadows first, you know, to kind of keep the image where it needs to be, and then it helps with the proportion. I highly recommend his course. It's on, he's got a YouTube channel, fantastic. Yeah. So he has shadows here, and then it breaks down here. I could probably even bring this down a little bit. Got sneakers or something for his feet. It's weird. So you can see here his thigh doesn't really work out. It's because the measurements aren't, I think I made his thigh up here way too thick, or his leg too far out to the square. I was trying to meet the square. When it should have been, if you look at his head, it's barely above his head. And that's where my measures went wrong. So, because I noticed that though, I can actually come back and fix that real easily without having drawn my whole image, right? So I just erase his foot. Simple as that. Easy breezy. And I can bring up his butt a little bit more. So I can bring it up here. Bring up his leg to give more room to his thigh. And then let's see, where the chin was, technically where it was at. So his crease is here, so then his kneecap needs to be much shorter. There's a lot of space there though. So come down. Drop this bad boy even further. And we'll probably bring his leg down even further than that. Got a big old calf. A ballerina foot. Darn it. Okay, so now that we drop this down, we want to match the proportions a little bit more. So this will give us the opportunity to make his legs a little bit longer. The problem was with me trying to fit this in a box. Maybe I shouldn't have showed you that technique first. Okay, I messed myself up. But hopefully you understand why the box is there in the first place. Yeesh. Okay, so remember this was here. I'd go in a little bit further and I'll come in here with the thigh and then line to the thigh. And this part would meet the kneecaps. Because I know how big his thigh is going to be. I can bring it down, bring it back. I'm going to break a few rules here. Come lower. Okay, there we go. Now we have something a little bit more proportionate. And we saw the issue because it just didn't look exactly the same as the drawing we were trying to copy. Now we have our dude. He is looking pretty solid. He could have a thinner line here. But now that we have him drawn like this, we've measured it, and we're kind of like, okay, well then his hand should be coming down to this part. He should be meeting this part. Does he? Let's see. This comes down to his ankle. This should be down to his. Is it close? It's close enough. Good enough. Okay. Now I can put his calf a little bit higher, and we can just go in and just fine tune. Okay. Bring those shadow lines in. Yeah, there we go. Alrighty then. And then we have his cool little eyes here. Build out his chest, build out his shoulder, build out his small neck. For some reason, a small neck. And then okay, so we have our dude. Is his head proportionate? No, it is not proportionate. He needs to be a little bit bigger, so his head should be coming down here. A little bit longer. Neck, and then there we go. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? So when I draw, and I see an image I want to draw, in my mind, because I've done this so many times, I'm looking at the angles and seeing where they match up. Is the back at a slant? Is the head at a slant? Okay. Are the arms angling through the top of his head? This one, unfortunately, I made his arms a little bit too, because I'm going fast. It's more slanted. It's going through his head rather than going through the top. So you probably could have bent his arm down a little bit lower and then move this one down a little bit lower too. But you have to take also into account that his shoulder's here and his other shoulder is going to be over here while his chest is here. So the shapes are going to help you a lot. If you wanted to do, let's say, I'm going to show you another technique that teachers teach a lot. Is that they'll say like, okay, you should build out the torso, right? Actually, the torso is probably like more like this. Okay, and then you have the ball. You have another ball over here, and then you can start building out the ovals. The problem with this that I find is that you can get lost in these shapes real quick, and then you not have the proportions right. I mean, it does work. I mean, it definitely works, but only if you've kind of figured out why it works for yourself. Each person learns differently. I can't tell you in the exact way, but I just wanted to give you an idea of like what way works best for me. Okay. Out of all the different styles I've tried, this shape stuff, and one of the other ways is gesture drawing, right? Like kind of like moving with the gesture. So Nightwing here has this bending motion, right? And he goes down. And then you have somewhere around here, you have this. Okay. And then you have this, and then down. This works too. I just find it, I don't draw this out as well. I kind of put this in my mind, right? And then from here you can follow along and create Nightwing's his body. But you just need a placeholder is what I'm saying. You need to find a placeholder for proportions. If you go into your drawing just trying to draw it, you're going to have wacky proportions. Measure things out. Look at where the angles of the lines of the head are at. See where this line, his head line goes through, and how these things can work for you. Because when you can reflect on it and use, if you're trying to, this is for copying or referencing images. If you just start drawing his back and you start drawing his torso and stuff, and then you don't have, his head could be tiny. You know what I mean? Like you could start drawing his head tiny, his leg could be too big, like we did with my sketch here. You can run into those issues quite easily, but it's better for you to see if you look at the lines on Nightwing here. If you draw them out, you can proportion how far the distance is from one line to the other and go from there. It's just a helpful tool. It's one of my favorite tools. In fact, I do this most often. I did it with my commission pretty much. I do it with most of my drawings because it's the only way that you're going to, I find that the only way you can find decent proportions without going through all the hassle of measuring and stuff like that. With a ruler and stuff. But then in the end, he should still be squared up as a rectangled out. And then you can start drawing in his chest. It's easy. Not easy, but it's easier. Okay, and then we can really start detailing them out. I don't have a reference of him. I need a reference. You can see I'm not following 100% on my sketch because I can see where I'm going wrong and I can keep on refining it. And that's what you want to do. I always like Batman and Robin. I always liked Robin. He was super cool. Kind of wish it was they came out with the Joseph Gordon-Levitt Robin Hood. I mean Robin Hood, Robin Hood, a Robin movie. That'd be sick because I know that in the series, Christopher Nolan series of the movies, they kind of teased it, but they never followed through with it, and kind of made me sad because I was like, man, he would make great, a Nightwing or a Robin character. And so as for Randy's, he wanted to do the Batman, this normal pose of Batman where he's just walking towards the viewing eye. And I thought, the reason why I didn't want to do that was because it's kind of too rudimentary for teaching, and I wanted to give a more of a perspective drawing that would build, like, if you can do this, if you can do like an action pose with a whole bunch of different angles, then doing the normal straightforward shot of like, Superman or Batman walking towards you or towards the viewer is much easier actually, because you can just you can pinpoint, measure it much faster and get to what you need to get to without any trouble. So I was like, let's go with harder, because harder will get you further. And if you can practice this and build out a whole drawing and shade it and really get it going and step back and not have this emotional attachment of like, oh, I suck, I can't get this going, then if you can look at it and study it, then you're going to be able to know where you went wrong and what angles, because it's easier to digest in the mind angles and shapes than it is in actual you straight drawing the character flushed out. You don't, because then you don't know where you messed up. You're like, oh, well, I don't know why it doesn't look right. But if you put the shape there and you went through there and like, oh man, maybe I should have angled the arm better. Maybe I should have made it more round. A bunch of different kind of techniques you can figure out easier through this rather than the fleshed out drawing. So, because the brain's it's already working really hard to create the character and put it on page. You don't want to overstress it once it's done, and and you want to fix it if you don't like it. It's harder to find out where you went wrong. I find, at least for myself. So, let's see. So the legs are harder because, you have longer legs and it's hard to kind of get them correctly, but just want to stay a little bit focused on getting them about right. And then if you need more room, just build more room, Hey, John. Welcome. No, I did not finish it. I just, I had seen that some people wanted to know how to get proportions right and how to draw a little bit. So I wanted to give like a kind of a quick tutorial, like a real rough quick tutorial of how I get my proportions correct. Let's see. Does he match? Look at that. Oh, dang. Look at that. Boom. Boy. Oh, his leg here should be a little bit further out. But if I match his back leg, so he's off a little bit. You can tell here the main issue is that he comes here and this should be out a little bit further. That's where my issue is right there. So, yeah. I mean, this is me moving too fast, of course, and I'm at an angle drawing this, so I don't know. I can't really see. But is it bad? Nah. Either way, This still works because it's not a perfect replication and nothing's going to be 100% perfect, but you get the image that you want to draw. Yeah, you're right. I guess it is too close. I should have realized how high his leg was. It should have been lower and probably around here and then coming down. And then from here you could just start shading this stuff in, coloring it, and then getting the shadows. The shadows are very important. Always pay attention to shadows. Someone needs to give a thumbs up. I like that John's supportive. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. So that's it, man. That's it, dudes. Use these angles for your benefit. When you have a drawing, kind of measure out how far the hands are from the tip of the feet. Look at the angle of the butt and the leg here and see if the head matches the knees. Small things like this in building lines and the angles, right? Look at it and go, it's at this angle, I should draw that angle, right? The arm, is it the perfect as the head? No, because the head kind of bends upwards, you know, it's not a straightforward down. Where do the eyes meet in comparison to the knees, right? Is there any things that the information that the thing can show you that will get your guy more proportionate? If you can build that out in your mind, that's great. If you want to build it on paper, just as great too. Use a pencil, that way you can erase it and then start adjusting the shapes, right? No one usually draws straight on and gets the proportions right away with an ink pen, you know? That's not how it works. That's why artists will always do pencil and then, you know, and erase it and go over it again and again and again, because that's what the pencil's designed for, to be the precursor to the solidified inking. But yeah, anyways, that's it. That's all I want to show. I'm done. That's for today's tutorial. Today's my day off, so I kind of want to utilize it well. But I wanted to get online to kind of show you a quick way of doing it and something to practice. Take a couple of your characters or take a couple of comic book characters and do this. Just try to replicate and see if you can get the proportions right with just drawing the lines first, okay? You get the lines first, and if you don't have good outlines of the character, you follow the shadows, because the shadows have the same thing going on for them. The shadows is something you can follow too, right? You can follow this shadow here. This guy doesn't have many shadows like a portrait. Oh, you know what? I have a picture of somebody right here. My hero. This guy name is Friday. He's one of my heroes. No, I can't do it again just because I'm about to go eat. I wanted a quick live stream today, but you can just rewatch. You know, I have it on there. Art Shack. What's up, Art Shack? For example, if I was going to draw him, I would draw a line for his eyes at an angle. Okay, let me see if I can get this picture up right. His eyes at an angle. I would draw this line at an angle and see where they meet, and then go up a little bit and create this crease. And for his nose, I would create an angle going up, and I would know that's close to the tip, but it's not the tip of his hat. And then I would come around, and I would start drawing these angles. I would draw the lines that meet out, especially since he has these wrinkles. There's a lot of different points I can meet up. And this guy's name is Friday. Oh, thanks, John. I appreciate the joke. His beard's got a straight little square here, and then his lip is a straight across. And these little things, you start building different lines, and you can see where they measure up, and it's easier to get the proportion correct than just start drawing his eyeballs and hope that they're far apart enough, and then get his nose in, and then go from here. You could do the cranium, the Loomis technique a little bit, but the Loomis doesn't always work. So, at least from my experience. And then draw this line here, this going at this angle, and then, so this is going here, so the tip of the lip is there, and then how far is it from here to his nose, and move and move and move and move. Yeah, you're very welcome, Art Shack. It's what I want to do. I want to help you guys out. So take portraits, take different scenarios, and put them on paper. Get it, and then just if you can reprint it and then draw on top and see what the angle is at, and get some practice just drawing it on the image like I did here. It's great, but even so, just start looking at it and kind of getting those angles. You want to practice your eyeballs to match angles. That's why painters would, like I said, they always hold their pencil out and they're kind of going, and then they're replicating it. Proportions are important because it creates reality. You're a goofball? Yeah. Well, I thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry it's a short one today, but today is my weekend in a sense, so I think this is an extremely helpful tip to practice and go with. I've tried all the different techniques, and you should try them all because you don't know how your mind works. You might be more of a logistical person. You might be more of a imaginative artist in the sense of like trying to create something from scratch, or like replicating. But this works in real life when you do live art as well. Let's say you're doing an apple and stuff. You can measure it towards the background that you're looking at. So go for it. Try it out. Today was Nightwing just because I thought he had a lot of different angles to work with. And I could have made this guy a lot better, obviously. But when you put it over the paper, he's pretty close. He's not too far off. Yeah. And anyways, you guys are amazing. Thank you for joining the Discord. We're having lots of fun here. I'm going to get started on my comic book today. I'm so excited to get the comic book going today. Not going to show y'all until the end of the month. I think I might even be doing watercolor instead of pen and ink just for the kicks and giggles. Or inking black watercolor just because it has that brushy vibe. But yeah, join the Discord. Let's have fun. And if you're a creative, go create. That's what we've got all this time on the planet for, to do, is create cool stuff for ourselves and for everyone else. And tomorrow I will continue with the Spider-Man, Batman, and then the next day I will jump over to probably a logo design I have to create for somebody, another YouTuber. But yeah, please like and subscribe. Yeah, his pec is a little low. So here, I put it too low compared to his chin, but his head's actually supposed to be bigger anyways. I was like, his chin should be here, and the pec would measure out, right? Yeah. Boo-hoo. And then I should make him a little skinnier because he's on a diet from all those Batman stuff. Yes, I'm on every weekday. Period. I haven't missed a weekday except for once, I think, the whole time, this whole year. So I'm on every single weekday. I don't always put up notifications like when I'm going on. I just go on because my schedule's so wacky. But tomorrow I will likely be on around. I tried 2:00 today, yesterday, 2:30 today. I may go on at 3 tomorrow. Let's see what 3:00 does for my algorithm. I'm trying to figure out the YouTube algorithm. It's wacky because like sometimes I'll get a whole bunch of subscribers and then they'll go dead for like a week of nobody, And so I'm trying to figure out what's happening, how to work it, what's the best times for people. 9 p.m. is usually when I was able to, but now that I have a night job, now I'm gonna have to start doing early. And it all depends on my work now because I don't get to make my schedule really. But yeah, I'll let you guys know, and I hope you'll have a great day, great night, great morning, wherever you're at, and keep on drawing. See you guys soon. 5 for you. Oh, so you're Midwest, okay. Then yeah. So around that time, I'm California time, which nobody's in Cali, so I have to figure out maybe I'll do Central Time. Tell everybody Central Time. It's easier. But, yeah. Peace out, guys. Thank you, Art Shack, for joining. John, Harsha, Randy, Krusty. You guys all rock and roll. And everyone else who's listening. You're amazing, and yeah, let's keep drawing. Adios. Oh yeah, Ohio. Ohio. Oh, bio.